What's good, y'all? Welcome to episode 1 of True Gem TV. Before we get into it, we have a very special guest today. Before we get into it, I just want to, since this is the very first episode, I want to give you guys a little bit of background about myself, and just so you guys can get to know me a little bit before we get into it here. My name is Nick Dieringer. I have been in the media space for about 2 to 3 years. Been something I really enjoy. I do a lot of photography, videography, just kind of freelance when I can, here and there, stuff like that, just to keep myself around the game. I was a high school athlete, wasn't ever good enough to play beyond that, but I just like to stay around the game, just do things that put me in that space. My day job, I work with the news. I cover sports, I cover crime. I cover, big events that are going on, just kind of whatever's happening in and around the Dayton area. So yeah, this is all very new to me, doing interviews and, putting myself out there like this. So I'm very excited for this next chapter, and I hope you guys will enjoy. And as always, please leave your feedback in the comments, or you can find me on Instagram, either at TrueGemTV or at Dieringer Visuals. Those will be up throughout the podcast if you guys would like to connect. If you guys are finding this here on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to True Gem TV, where we are highlighting athletes from in and around the Dayton area. Today, I am joined by a very special guest. He is a former Fairmont High School basketball player. He's been playing in college here for a few years, still in his collegiate career. We have Anthony Johnson here today.
What up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for taking the time out and coming to hop on the show here. First, what I'll just kind of jump into here with you, we can get right into it. Fairmont, I have a list of some accolades here from your time at Fairmont, and very, very successful career for you there. Just briefly, I guess, because I'll ask you some specific things, but like, how did you enjoy your time in high school basketball there at Fairmont?
It was great. I'd say that really shaped who I am today as a basketball player and just as a person. I think a lot of the people that I've been around really influenced who I am and kind of how I approach things. And just some certain experiences really just changed everything, were really moments that I really value, such as being able to win a district title. My senior year was nice. Being able to, a lot of experiences my freshman year too. Luckily, I was able to play varsity, so I had a lot of experiences with some really good players, such as getting to the district title. So I kind of got a little taste of that going early on, which kind of helped guide me the rest of my high school career. Playing with different coaches, had a whole different coaching staff from my freshman year to my senior year. So having a lot of those people still in my corner to this day, really influential, and just obviously all the players, all my teammates as well, was everything. Still, some of those guys are my best friends to this day. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and obviously that's pretty cool being able to play varsity as a freshman. Like, what was that like? Like, you're just trying to figure out, hey, this is how high school is, and here you are playing with, guys that are, 18, or playing with and against guys that are 18. You're probably like 14, 15.
Yeah, so it was at first it was definitely a challenge, I would say. I think I kind of had that goal in the back of my head, like I think I can play varsity as a freshman. No disrespect to any of the guys like who played before me, but I remember going to a high school game when I was in middle school. I'm like, okay, I can play with these guys. Like, I don't think that there's that big of a gap between me and some of the guys now. So I'm like, okay, this is a goal I'm gonna try to reach. So luckily, I was able to. I was pretty good in middle school, so I was able to kind of show myself to the high school coaches. So I was kind of already on their radar. And then throughout the summer, I played really well. They gave me some opportunities. Kind of started moving my way up, and they gave me some opportunities to play with the varsity guys at some of like the summer camps and stuff like that that you see having now in June. So I got that opportunity, really played well, and then going on to my going on to the off season and or the preseason, and then the season opportunities were kind of limited. Like I was playing 2 quarters of JV and then 3 quarters of varsity. As I think it might be, you might have more chances now, but it was only 5 quarters when I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, I played pretty well early on, well, decent early on. I remember I had my first varsity game against Wayne, played 3 quarters in that game because I played 2 JV quarters. And then the next game, coach called me down to his classroom and said, "I want you to play 4 quarters this game." Thing is, it was at Centerville, and it was like a like sold out crowd. I That was like my first like real like welcome to high school basketball type of moment. I
Yeah.
remember that vividly. I was like shaking in my boots. I feel like I didn't handle it the best I could. I feel like I played okay, but there was just some moments that I kind of wish I had back at that point. And so I think from there, I really grew a lot, and kind of going on throughout the season. I think the biggest turning point was when we went on a trip to Missouri. We it was just the varsity team, so I wasn't gonna play JV, so I just went and really played well as a role player in that trip. And then from there on out, I was strictly varsity. And yeah, I was really just playing. I was like 6, 7 man off the bench, but my role was to really just handle the ball, play defense, and I feel like I really excelled in that role, being a sponge of guys around me, such as Ryan Hall, Kellen Bohannick, and just really taking in what they had to say, what they had going on, and just following them the best I could. So yeah, that was my freshman year, kind of shortened.
Yeah. And I mean, something that stuck out to me too when I was, looking up some stats and stuff, and this is probably along the lines of like, you're trying to get, you're trying to be, you're a leader, you're the, point guard, everything. I believe this was your senior year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 88.6% from the free throw line, which was a team or maybe a Fairmont record.
Yeah, they don't have it. So for some reason, we have at Fairmont we have like an athletic we have our athletic area, and for some reason my name is on there when I have the proof that I shot 88.6. I think the next highest was like 86%. So I'm a
Nice.
little bit salty on that. I'd like my name to be on there. But but yeah, I took a lot of pride in that. Just being consistent from the line. I think I mean, it's free points. If you get fouled, I feel like that's if I can get 2 free points, like I might as well knock it down. But also, I think I take a lot of time shooting free throws. Like you see during our workouts, we shoot free throws between every single drill, and I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of just like consistent reps, being able to shoot them when you're tired, it really pays off.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. That's what I've always heard coaches say. Like, you know, if you play defense, be smart, make your free throws. That's always an emphasis. So, that's yeah, you're a good you know uh example of that. And so something else here I wanted to touch on here. Your senior year, against Alter. So obviously your guys' rival, Fairmont and Alter. You had 31 points. Tell me a little bit about that game because I know you like to spread the ball around. You're not exactly a guy that goes out there trying to score 30 every night, obviously. But yeah, tell me a little bit about that game, though.
Yeah. So the before the game, I don't know if you are familiar with MV Hoop Vault. But Rob Ellis, he had this page. He's not active on it anymore because he's out doing bigger and better things out in college, recording and stuff like that. But he had this page kind of just covering the Miami Valley, just Dayton, greater Dayton hoops. And he would always do these rankings. And Alter was they're just coming off a big win against Moeller. And Moeller back then, there still are kind of just the big bad, kind of the boogeyman of high school ball at
Yeah.
that point. Alter a week before beats Moeller in I think it was an overtime game, I believe. But we were also undefeated at that point. They were undefeated. We were undefeated. We were number two on the rankings for Division One. Centerville was obviously number one, and they were number one for Division Two. And they all so before every game they had a poll. Always put it on the Instagram poll. Say who do you think's gonna win? So 87% of people picked Alter. I think it was 87. Only 13% picked us. So we kind of saw that as some motivation, and we came out to that game and we kind of laid an egg early on. They kind of just punched us in the mouth. Like, okay, like this team is for real. So I think I just took it upon myself because I wasn't being aggressive enough. I'm like, okay, I got to start scoring. So I kind of just, all right, if I see an open look, I'm gonna let that thing fly. I just shooting it when I was open. Happened to be my night. Shots went in, and yeah, that's just kind of how the night went. We kind of teammates kept finding me, kept getting open shots. I was kind of owing that night too. Some shots I remember looking back at the game like, wow, like, oh, some of these shots were kind of crazy that I was just kind of pulling, but it was really my night, and it's kind of just the will that I wanted to win that game really bad because actually at that point I never had beat Alter
Hmm.
for the. I think I lost to Alter 3 years before in a row before that, so I was like, okay, I can't lose to them all 4 years because I knew we wouldn't play them again because they're a Division 2 team, we're a Division 1 team, so yeah, just kind of a lot of pride on the line right there. Just my competitive spirit really kicked in. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna let us lose this game. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I like that you remembered the exact percentages too. That's awesome. Like y'all
yeah,
used that chip on the shoulder, went out there, pulled off the upset. I mean, maybe not in your guys' mind, but to other people and the way that the public seem to think, that's an upset. So that's
right.
awesome. Moving on to another aspect I want to ask you about here. You were the team MVP there at Fairmont. I believe 2 years. I don't know if that maybe it. I didn't see if it was maybe like junior senior year. But
Yeah,
like what does that mean to you for to get that like that honor?
it was cool. I think it was nice to be able to get that honor. I'm not really sure who votes for it. It's probably just the coaches, but it's nice to be able to kind of have that honor of just kind of being like the guy that everybody relies on, like kind of starts with me type of mentality. I think that's really nice. And I would like to mention that I was for my senior year, I was the co MVP. Desan Doucette also got MVP honors that year as well. So I think I'm not, I don't want to so I want to make sure he gets his credit as well. But yeah, I think it's a lot. It's definitely an honor to be able to have that kind of not that title, but just that title, or you know what I mean. That mention
Yeah,
over my name.
recognition
'Cause,
from
yeah, that
the work.
recognition over my name. Yeah, because I mean it means a lot. Worked really hard for it. So
Yeah. No, and that's something that stuck out to me, and it makes sense to me seeing you play and just seeing how you carry yourself for sure. Um, so the last thing I'll ask you about at your time at Fairmont. So your senior year, I know you said your freshman year as well. I'm assuming senior year you had a lot bigger part of this, but district title your senior year, like take me through like how was that, like how big of an accomplishment was that for you?
it was huge because I think the biggest thing was which it didn't mean as much to me. I think it meant more to me to win it because I made it my freshman year and I wanted to win one by the time I got out of the time by the time I was done. But I think it was like 25 years before my senior year. It was like 25 years since the last time Fairmont won. That might be a little inaccurate. I think it might be 27 actually. It's somewhere in the 20s range
Yeah, I
before
believe
the
I believe it was 1995 if I remember right when I looked.
yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah, so it was huge to kind of have that my name involved in history, like something that hasn't happened at Fairmont in a while. But I think a lot of the reason why we won that district title is because that wasn't our end goal. At the end of the day, we saw ourselves as one of the best teams in the state, and we decided we were like, yeah, we want to win a district title, but that's not what we want to do at the end of the day. We want to get as far as we can in the tournament. Like, yeah, district title is nice, a nice accomplishment, but we want to be able to, like, if we can make state, great. Obviously, that's not how it ended up, but sometimes you got to shoot for the stars. Sometimes you may land on the moon, and that's just how it happened. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, regardless, that's a great accomplishment for you guys, and something that you guys will, I'm sure, remember forever. Um, so moving on through the next part of your career here. So you had committed to Wright State. Um, just take me through that process. Obviously, Fairmont to Wright State, obviously not very far. Um, Did that play any factor of like, it's a D1 school, it's close. Were the coaches, really looking at you all of your senior year, or
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that probably led me to Wright State, obviously, D1 is nice and all that but I mean it being close was cool too. But I think the trust that and kind of the connection I built with Coach Trice was probably the biggest thing. As you know, Coach Trice, Travis Trice Jr. is a son, Dimitri Trice, one of his sons as well. And I was actually working out with them throughout like the whole preseason my senior year, both of them, because the year before that was like COVID-ish time, so they just happened to kind of be in town, be in before they end up going off to go play pro. I was working out with them a lot, and I built a good connection and built a good relationship with all of them, including Coach Trice. And that me having a good senior year of at high school or at Fairmont kind of led to that connection. Coach Trice came to a lot of my games, and then I was just kind of on the phone with him, and he was like kind of on me about like, yeah, it's a great opportunity for you. I think you'll do really well here, and just kind of bet on myself and decided to go with it. And yeah,
yeah. And so, obviously, you had decided that it's not, you wanted to move in a different direction in your collegiate career. So like, what's it like? Because I know a lot of people. There's a lot of talk about the transfer portal nowadays. It's a very hot thing in college, and in my opinion, now maybe it's getting used a little bit too much. But what was like your experience like? Looking to transfer and kind of opening up that process again.
it was definitely stressful because it was different because I would say I didn't really want to leave because I liked it there at Wright State, but I knew it was the best decision for me at the end of the day. So I had to just pull that plug. And it was definitely stressful because I didn't know what was next. I mean, I was in a fortunate situation because two schools that were recruiting me at a high school both uh, reached out once again. One of them being Findlay, and that kind of made my decision easier. I'm a little bit indecisive, so that kind of made it a little tough. Like I want to go to these two schools; they're both good options, but I'm like I kind of want to like just wait it out, see if anything else happens. That's also the danger of the portal as well. That's probably why you see. I mean, there's a lot of people not getting picked up either because nobody's giving them a chance, or they just don't. They're waiting for something else to happen, and then nothing happens. So next thing you know, they're just stuck in the portal. So luckily, Finley was able to hold that door open for me long enough to where I'm like, okay, I think this is definitely the right choice for me. So let me just make this choice, and then obviously I'm very happy I made the choice. It for sure was the right choice for me, especially after making the choice. I think as soon as I made that choice, it was just a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is for sure home. After I actually made that choice, I just actually making the choice, especially being a life altering decision, was the hard part. But then when I actually made it, I'm like, yeah, yeah, this is for sure the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be crazy because it's like you're deciding, right then throughout that process where you're going to be living and going to school and so it's like you said, life altering decision. Like that's going to shape the rest of your life right there. And I think nowadays with some of these the kids that are in there, is I don't know if they think about it as much. It's just they're trying to go somewhere for a better opportunity, which can't hate somebody for trying to better themselves, but it is a huge change in somebody's life.
Okay.
So it seems like you've found a good home here in Findlay. This is your, let's see, this you just would have finished. Was this be your second year at Findlay?
Yeah, I just finished my second year at
Okay.
Finland.
So I know your first year, you had struggled with a little bit of injury, and then I see you had 22 starts, and something that stuck out to me that year, your season finale against Ashland is when you scored your season high for the year, 16 points. So, were you feeling better as the season goes on, and it kind of like you kind of hit that peak there? You kind of were peaking at the right time, right at the end of the season. You were playing your best ball. Would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say after. So to begin my first year at Finley in the summer, I ended up hurting my knee. I hurt my meniscus, So it took a little bit for me to get going. I didn't really get healthy until like fully 100% healthy until like the first like wasn't even really the first practice. It was kind of the first few practices is when I finally started getting like really healthy again. And then I kind of had a little block in the middle of the year, early in the year. I just wasn't shooting well and just wasn't playing, I feel like my best. And then Christmas break hits and like first practice from Christmas break, I sprained my ankle and I probably it was just an injury that really wouldn't go away. I came back pretty quick, probably earlier than I should have, I would say, looking back. But I was playing through an injury, kind of just had to get healthy. Part of it was a mental block, and then when I finally started to feel like myself again, I think that's when I really started to take off. And I think kind of just that last game was kind of all of it. Like I'm finally playing my best ball. Like it's something that we didn't have the season we really wanted to, but so we I couldn't really go on from there. But kind of that last stretch of like 10 games, I really started to kind of play with some confidence at the end. So I'd say that last game was kind of just a reflection of that.
Yeah. No, I would. That's kind of what my feeling was. Seeing how started off with the injuries, but you finally are taking that. I know it's kind of a long process, especially like a knee, ankle injury. That's obviously it's common in basketball, but obviously very gonna be very tough to come back from. So I want to talk about last season a little bit. I know it didn't end the way you guys wanted, but you guys were ranked right near the top of right in the top of the rankings most of the year. You guys had a really good team. I got a chance to watch you guys for a game. Just like I know, like I said, I know it didn't end the way you wanted it to, but like how was that group of guys, and like how would you summarize last season for you guys?
I would say it was definitely a great ride last year. We had a really good group of guys, I think a really deep group of guys as well. Like we have a lot of guys on the team we have a lot of guys coming back too, but we have a lot, last season we had a lot of guys on the team that can really play. Like we didn't really have any type of drop off when it came to who was in, who was not playing. So all of us can really go. So I think that's really what made the machine go. And I think just kind of having that feeling of like us realizing like, oh, we're pretty good. Like we're beating all these teams and we're winning by a lot of points. Like I think that feeling really got us going, and then we just kind of just rode it all the way until obviously we had a couple hiccups throughout the year, and obviously at the end didn't really go how we wanted it to, which is going to be some motivation for next year. But I think we seen what we can do, but we also think that we didn't even really play our best like at all last year. We think we're just now scratching the surface of what we can do. So it's just a lot of motivation for next year. But overall, I would say it was a great season. Just being able to kind of put Findlay back on the map on the national stage was great. To have Croy Arena, that's the name of the arena we play in. To have that like packed out like almost every game is such a great feeling, especially for D2. You see a lot of D2 schools, even D1 schools that don't have like we'll have like half of the gym empty, and for us to be able to have a packed crowd every night is great. So excited for happy for last year, but really excited for next year for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I think it's really cool to see, like you said, put it on nationals stage, nationally ranked and everything. That's a big accomplishment. I want to touch on a couple of things for you personally last season. So you started all 29 games, which is in and of itself, a very big milestone, I'm sure, for you after, dealing with the injuries and everything the year prior. And you led the team in assists, and the stat that I liked the most out of any of your stats was you were second in Division Two with a 4.5 assist to turnover ratio, which is very impressive. What is that something you take pride of taking care of the ball, making sure you're getting guys involved, but doing it in a smart way and not trying to make the flashy pass and leading to turnovers.
Yeah, I think with me being the point guard, I think one thing that is my ultimate job is to take care of the ball. I have one thing that I've always learned growing up, going back to my Fairmont days, one way for you to not see the floor is to turn the ball over. You got to be able to play defense take care of the ball. And that's really like the two main things that you need to be able to do to stay on the floor, which has kind of always been in my mind growing up. And I think me getting the full like keys to run the point, I think that really just I kind of just doubled down on that. I would say I wasn't really fully like careful on me passing. It just some stuff it just happened kind of especially early on in the year. I was first at one point, and I'm like I didn't even know I was first. I'm like okay, I guess I'm first now with the assist to turnover ratio. But like I said, it wasn't an accident, but it wasn't like I'm trying to get this many assists without turning it over. I was just playing, and I just happened to not be turning the ball over, which it's nice to be able to have guys that I can pass to and trust with the ball, which makes my job a lot easier. And that's another reason why I was able to be second in the country is being able to pass the guys that will catch the pass, will be able to score if I give them the ball. So I think combination of all that is why that happened, but also it's nice to be able to have my name up there for sure, especially with me not being, especially in high school, I wasn't like a full out point guard because of how my team was. We had a bunch of 6 foot guards, five like so we didn't have a lot of guys that we had a bunch of guards, so I was playing off the ball a lot. And even my first year at Findlay, I was kind of the main ball handler to begin, and then after I got hurt, I kind of moved over to like the 2 guard. So it wasn't a completely new role for me, but it was a little bit different at first. So it was for me to for my first year of being a full out point guard for a full season, it was definitely like I was very happy to be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, no, I mean and it seems like it's a role that really fits you well when you look at those stats and leading your team in assists and everything like that. That's I'm sure your coach is very glad that that's the role you've been able to fit into because that's exactly what you're looking for. Um, so looking forward to next year, I mean, what is something that you're looking forward to next year? Whether it's you got some new teammates coming in, you guys kind of have that kind of motivation from how last year ended. I mean, is there one thing you can pinpoint that you're really looking forward to next year?
I would just say kind of taking that extra step, being able to take that extra step to get to the national tournament because I believe we're one game away. We arguably could have probably still made it, but if we win that last game, then I don't think there's any doubt that we get in. So I think that being able to take that next step for sure. But we also, like I said, I think we never even really got to that peak yet. And I believe that we have the team to be able to do it. I think we have the guys to be able to do it. Plus, we're going to have nearly everybody coming back. We have a couple new faces, but 90% of our team is going to be the same team as last year. Either we had a couple injuries, but everybody was there. So I think that everybody knows what it's like. Everybody has seen it. So now it's not, we have no, we can just have complete focus on being able to accomplish what we want to accomplish. So I think that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to. Obviously, being able to spend more time with all those guys as well is great. But all in all, I think we want to be able to make the national tournament. That's the biggest goal, and even go farther than that. Like I said before about high school, we don't want to just make the national tournament. We want to be able to make some noise in that tournament as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I have one last question for you. And it's kind of an open ended question, but so you know, what is any piece of advice, anything you kind of had learned, for just let's say there's just any kids that are still in high school or younger than that listening here that want to make it to the level that you're on, playing collegiate basketball, like what's any advice or one piece of advice you have for those kids?
Just be confident in who you are, and don't and try to give everything that you have of who you are. I would say don't try to don't try to cater to anybody else or anything because that's when if you don't reach what somebody else wants, then that's when you kind of start to lose confidence. So don't do things for man's approval. Do things your way and how you want to do it, and then that's when you'll get satisfaction.
Awesome. I love that, man. Well, Anthony, I appreciate you having the time to come and give us a little bit of words of wisdom here today, and just have a conversation with me. Is there anything that you want to shout out, Instagram or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. I'll shout out my Instagram, ant.johnson10. Add me if you want to. If you don't, cool. But
I'll put it up on the screen for you too, just in case anybody wants to see it and kind of follow you along and see how you guys do this year and in the future. All right, so that's going to wrap up this week's episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed Anthony Johnson and I's conversation. I thought there was really solid info for somebody that wants to get in his position to kind of take. He really carries himself very well. Yeah, so be looking for these episodes. We're going to be coming out weekly. We're going to shoot for weekly, probably every Wednesday. So stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe on the YouTube and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere social medias are. We're going to be putting stuff out on TikTok, Reels, and all that stuff. If you don't have time to listen to the full podcast, you can still get a lot of good insight, just on your Reels, on your TikTok, anything like that. So, yeah, let us know if there's anything that any feedback that you have, and yeah, any kind of topics you guys would like to hear in the future. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace.